Good evening, everybody. And let me bring on my co host for tonight, the Diggin' Canuck. There you are.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
I am good, good, good. Good,
Great.
good, good. I do love
Great.
that intro.
Oh my goodness, the music is just like love
Yeah,
it.
it is good. It is good. Thanks to Ronnie Calhoun for that. During all I forget, the winter time out there in Oregon, I guess all it does is rain. So he had a lot of time on his hands. And he asked me, and I said, yes, I do need one.
Great.
And so he worked on it, and we, about 5 or 6 different tries and come up with
Hmm.
something that I liked, and I like it.
I like it too.
So
Hmm.
what's going on in Canada?
It's kind of cold. Surprise, surprise. Cold, rainy, kind of dark, miserable the last few days.
Geez, you guys were having some great weather there for a while.
We had 2 days of 30, which is like high 80s, and then it went like for yeah.
So I take it you hadn't been in the pool.
No, actually, the pool was open yesterday, and we got the hose in there filling it up because the water level was they took too much water out of it when they closed it in the fall, but all good.
Now, is your pool in ground or above ground?
It's an in ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only way to go in my mind. you know. So it'll come. Now I'm going to be
Yeah.
in Canada in July, so I hope it's nice and warm.
It's probably going to be July before we're swimming.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to be in Vancouver, so July 10th. I think no, the 11th. I get to Vancouver,
Mm.
and then we're going directly from Vancouver to Victoria, and then back to Vancouver, and then we'll get on the train and make our way to Calgary.
Oh, you're going to have such a blast. Such a
And
blast.
go up to the glaciers and all that kind of good stuff. So
Wonderful.
it should be a good time. We hope. We
Hmm.
hope.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As
For sure.
expensive as it is, well, it better be.
Well, yeah, just
I
take lots
really,
of video and lots of pictures and enjoy.
I tell you what, I know you guys up there are getting hit bad with gas prices and stuff. And I saw something
Yeah.
tonight that I mean, completely blown off the map in the UK.
Yeah, it's you know what? All over the world, it's going crazy, but I got to tell you that when stuff gets a little too much, like 24 with the humans were not made for 24-hour news, 24 connecting to everyone out there, and it's very very important, especially today in what's going on on the planet, to take some time off, make some time, go detecting if you like detecting, go to the antique store. You got to get out, you got to unplug, and you just have to like forget about everything. It's very important. I got to say, I went bottle digging on the weekend, and the war in Ukraine didn't matter, gas prices didn't matter, food craziness didn't matter. It didn't matter because I was just having a great time bottle digging, and I think that's really really important.
Yeah, you just got to get away from all, shut it out, you
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
And if you watch the news a lot, you're going to get so many different perspectives on it because news is not news anymore. It's a personality parade.
It's an op-ed. Exactly.
So I just click, click, click.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
It is.
Anyways, I think we're going to have a good show tonight, kiddo.
We have two great guests.
Yeah. So we should we make this announcement we've been talking about?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, for everybody out there, you're going to love this. I have asked the Diggin' Canuck to be my permanent co-host, and she's accepted. So she will be here with me every Thursday night. So we're kicking this show up a notch to notches unknown to mankind now.
Right on, right on. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your co-host.
So she's got the experience, she's got the look, she's got the talent. How can we go wrong? You know what I'm saying? So we ought to probably say hello to some folks, shouldn't we,
Yeah,
Liz?
that'd be a good plan.
Yes, it would. Andrew T was the first one in the chat. Andrew, thank you for joining us tonight. Let's see if I can get by with this without it going squirrely on me. Mike and Trish from Dirty Paws Detecting. They will be on Treasure Tales soon.
Right on.
Glad for them to be here. And let's see, Gene P. Hello, Gene. Glad that you were here tonight. Oh, I know I was going to tell you from Monday night, JBP Hobbyist already got her magnet.
Already got it.
Yeah. Yeah, Clay. I sent it the name Monday night right after the show. They sent it out. She's got it. She got it yesterday's, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
That's
pretty good.
fast. That's pretty
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, that's real good. Sometimes we got to wait a while, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see who else is here. Uh, uh, let's see. Mandy Brown, glad that you are here, Mandy. Thanks for joining us tonight. And then there's a Facebook user whom I do not know who it is. They didn't click the link. They say, hello, Liz and Jeff. So hello to you.
Hello back, Facebook.
Yes, Robert Ridgway from Pinellas Park is with us tonight. So glad that you're here. See, I knew this chat jumped. It just does it sometimes. See It My Way 1 is with us tonight. Glad that you
Yes.
were here. John and Isaac Detects, they're with us tonight. Charles Broussard, glad to see you, Charles. Hope everything is well there in Texas.
He says
So
it's
think,
93 degrees there. Wow.
yeah, well, it's about like that here. I mean, it's
Wow, really?
yeah.
Wow.
What's it say here? I don't know. I lost the temperature. Got one of those Windows updates, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Mumbles Man is in the house. So I think we're pretty good. If we miss somebody, sorry. John Agans, glad that you're here, and Stacy Rasaka. I think that's how we pronounce your name, Stace. But I'm old, so bear with me, please. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes. Thank you all. And hit the like button before we get the party started. That would be great.
Yes, it would. It would be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I hope everybody's doing okay out there, getting a little detecting done. You guys, it's pretty, before you know it, we got one more day and it's your weekend. So,
Yes.
get your detectors all charged up. Now, Liz and I were talking a little bit, and she's got, I think you're still using the ORX, which is a
Yes.
killer machine.
I will never get rid of that detector.
And you got the Deus 2.
Yes. Yes.
But you got it with the 11-inch coil.
I think I made a mistake.
You wanted the 9? Yeah.
Oh, I think I made a mistake.
I like the 9-inch for dirt digging.
Yeah.
I got the 11. I've got two Deus 2s, but I use the 11 for in the water. It's a little easier in the water, to get your scoop situated and stuff, especially if there's some waves and stuff like that. That's what I got. You know what you ought to do? If anybody out there lives near Liz, even in the upper part of the U.S., and you've got a 9-inch and would prefer an 11, get up with her.
I'll trade mine for yours. Sure.
Yeah,
The coil, not the rest of the machine.
The coil.
Yes.
Just the coil.
Yes.
Yes. It's a Deus 2 coil, so a lot of guys prefer the 11-inch coil. I myself like the 9.
You know what? I really didn't think that there'd be a difference in weight, but between the ORX and with the small coil and then the big coil on the Deus 2, I can feel it. I mean, I'm not that big of a person, and I can feel it.
Yeah, there's a difference. There is a difference, and it all depends on how far you like to have it extended out. I myself never like mine out too far. Everybody's different, and their postures and stuff like that. So,
yes.
That makes a little difference too. But I mean, since I've got my first Deus, I seldom ever used the 11-inch coil. I always I got the X35 9-inch and the 9-inch high frequency. And then I also got the 9x5 HF
Mm-hmm.
elliptical.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the ones I used. I basically, all I ever really used on the Deus one was the X35 9 and the HF 9.
Hmm.
Uh, Very
Yeah.
seldom used the 9x5. When we
Yeah.
went to England, I took them. And
Yeah.
I did use the 11-inch coil one afternoon, and that was it. The rest of the time, I was a 9-inch. So,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
that's the way I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I absolutely love it because that,
Mm-hmm.
that 9-inch coil is plenty deep. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully something happens.
Well, a lot of the hunting that you're doing now with it, you're in the woods and you're in some of those fields with John and Gord. And if they come up stocky, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
9-inch gauge, it wiggles right in there pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Yes,
good.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we probably better get on with things, hadn't we?
Hey, I just want to say to dive and detect, Mark and or Angela have joined the chat. Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us, you two.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. I see. I don't think we missed anybody, did we? It's entirely possible that I do miss
It's
people.
always possible. It's always possible. It's not intentional. It's possible.
Sometimes no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So somebody, I think Gene P asked the best finds with the high frequency 9-inch coil in England, found a lot of greenies and a lot of older stuff than that. So who I was over there with, the Mumbles man, he used the HF coil mostly as well, the 9-inch HF
Yeah.
coil,
Yeah.
and another guy, Dan Graham, was with us, and he used that, and he had a lot of really good success finding hammered with the 9x5. So
Mm.
if you're
Hmm.
not a Deus user, I would encourage everybody to at least check it out, or the ORX. The ORX is
I
absolutely.
I I found more rings with the ORX than I ever have. Great, great detector. I can't say that enough. Can't say that. I hope one day that I say the same about the XP Deus 2, but for now, I mean the ORX, phenomenal detector.
I think once you get the 9-inch coil, you will definitely say that. I think, now I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think, excuse me, that the way the ORX is set up, it's set up to be a really good coin detector. Am I not correct in that?
I've found a lot of coins, yes.
And I think the rings kind of fall into that a lot of times um, because I know the ORX just hammers the coins.
Yeah.
And so well, so was the Deus too, but I think the difference for you is going to be the 9-inch coil.
Yeah, I think so.
So Robert Ridgway wanted to know who makes the ORX XP Deus.
XP.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Well, I tell you what, let's bring on Tracy from Tracy's Treasures. She is just an outstanding treasure hunter. If you have not watched her YouTube channel, Tracy's Treasures, then you're missing out because she's got some killer videos out there. She makes some great finds. So everybody around the world, let's welcome Tracy from Tracy's Treasures. Hello, Tracy.
Boom.
Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Hello, Tracy.
Hi, Canuck. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Thanks, Liz.
Good. So you're up in, I think you're in New York, aren't you, Trace?
Yes, I am. New York City, born and
Ah,
bred.
so now do you live in one of the boroughs? You live outside the city? You live in the city proper, or what?
I live in Queens, which is
Ah,
it's New York City, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah.
I do a lot of detecting, in Long Island and in Westchester, the Hudson Valley, so on and so forth. But the homestead is in Queens.
Okay. Uh, I just heard from P&W Dirt Fishing. Missed them in the chat. I'm sorry. I told you I'm an old person. So, my mind only tracks one way, I think, and one thing at a time. So, P&W Dirt Fishing, we are so glad that you were here tonight, and I apologize that I missed you. You can beat me later. Okay. We're ready to go. So you live in Queens. Now, what kind of are there? I've never been to Queens, so I couldn't tell you anything about it. But tell us the type of hunting you do around Queens.
Well, Queens is, we have a lot of shoreline, so I certainly do my fair share of beach detecting. But there's quite a bit of parkland in all of New York City. We have a lot of historic parkland, so I do a lot of both. I prefer finding relics typically to beach detecting. Beach detecting is always fun, don't get me wrong, but I really enjoy finding old coins, old relics, stuff like that. The beach, I'm mostly finding newer things in jewelry, or some costume jewelry, those types of things. But so I do both. I don't really have a lot of farm fields, though there are some farms. I haven't really done a lot of farm detecting.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you hunt the beach, are you hunting in the water, or are you just hunting dry sand, wet sand?
I usually try to follow the tide. So as the tide's going out, I'm following it down. I will go in, maybe mid shin. I'm not big into, maybe it's just that I don't have enough practice, but I always have a very hard time scooping
Mm-hmm.
when I get a signal if I'm anything deeper than my knees. I never seem to actually get what I want in the scoop. So
Yeah, there's a definite technique to it. I know when you hunt in the water, Liz, you have a certain technique you use, don't you?
Yeah, I don't get too I'm kind of like Tracy. I think the waist is about the most that I will ever or have ever gone. And everybody develops their own kind of technique for scooping stuff out of the water, and it's not funny, but it's interesting to see how people do it, because no two people really do it the same.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
this is true. I upgraded because when you start out, you don't know if you're gonna. At least for me, I didn't know if this was a hobby I would stick with, so I started out with a pretty small scoop. I've certainly upgraded now to a tremendous scoop. The titanium pole, so it's not so heavy. And then I saw somebody else using it with kind of a little thing in the middle to help pick it up, so I went and got that, but I didn't like it. So I'm still working on my scooping technique. But yeah, I haven't enjoyed it.
You have not enjoyed it.
I've not enjoyed being in the water, is what I should
Oh,
say, with the
okay.
waves and everything else. Other
Well, yeah.
detecting is absolutely, it's my crack.
Now
Yeah.
you started with an Equinox 600,
Yes,
which is kind of like, most people don't start out with such a great machine, but you quickly upgraded it to an 8.
I did. Well, to be truthful, many, many moons ago, I started out with a bounty hunter. Um,
Ah.
and after and after just a couple of trips out, I'm like, this is, I don't like this. It's not, but back then there wasn't really a YouTube. There was no one to show me. All I had was this detector and a willingness, but I didn't have a pinpointer. I didn't have a proper shovel, a proper scoop, those sorts of things. And I will say, my wife Tammy now uses the bounty hunter only when we go to the beach, and she finds some good stuff. But she, now has me to say, pinpointer, you need the scoop, so on and so forth. So she's found more gold than I have with the bounty hunter. But I did upgrade to the 800. I bought it used because I just didn't see the point in spending so much money. But I got it, it was about 8 months old. The gentleman I bought it from had taken very good care of it. And I see a difference. But I heard you guys talking earlier before we were live about the Deus 2, and that is my next detector. I want the Deus 2. A friend of mine, Geronimo, has one. I got to try it out. That thing is light as a feather, and it's what I will get next for sure.
Can I just say that we're started lightning. So if I go, that's the reason I've gone. It's storming outside.
Well, we were supposed to get some storms tonight too, with hail and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh, yeah,
you never know.
I might exit stage.
We might all
really
exit. You never can tell. So we'll make the best of it while we can.
All right, sorry for interrupting.
Well, the days too is a killer machine. And, we were talking about the beach, and yes, everybody has a different technique. If you have trouble getting the scoop situated, it depends on the clarity of water. If there's a lot of wave action, I have a couple of techniques that I use. I will put my foot on the right side of the coil. Then I move the coil, then I can bring the scoop in right there by my foot. So that's where the target was. Or I can put my toe up against the back of the coil and then bring the scoop in. But if the water's pretty clear where you can see it, then there's not a problem. But then again, like I said, everybody's different and not everybody is going to be a water hunter. And if you're hunting in the Atlantic Ocean, you've got the waves to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that.
Yes. Yeah, I just not, like I said, I haven't been very lucky. And then, you get frustrated. At least I do, to spend a number of hours and have nothing to show for it. Mm-hmm. So, I typically stick with the shoreline. I'm sure you guys know or have heard of Merrill, and he was the guy that I followed into this hobby, just watching some of his videos and learned a lot, honestly, from him, and doing the V's up and down the shoreline and so on and so forth. And it has worked. It has worked pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But
I do truly prefer park hunting and woods. I really do.
Yeah, up there in the north where y'all are at, it's easier to do in the summertime. Mm. Down here, when it's 95 or 100 degrees with 90% humidity, I can't take my fat old carcass out there for long. Woo.
Well, up here, at least in New York, and probably where you are too as well, Liz, the summer is not good because of the ticks. That's one of the biggest worries with, especially with woods detecting anything past the spring. Mm-hmm. I've been bitten and I've been tested. So I, as much as I miss the woods during the summer, I do stick to, just grassy areas and the beach.
Mm-hmm. Now you've also, I've watched some of your videos, and you also go to Dead Horse Bay.
I do.
Tell us about that.
Well, again, if you follow Merrill at all, he talks a lot about Adele. But Dead Horse Bay, quite simply, is just a garbage dump that has been exposed over time by tide and time and wind. And there are some absolutely beautiful, amazing finds at Dead Horse Bay, but it's a garbage dump. The beach is completely littered with every kind of bottle that has ever been made, car parts, household things, shoes. There's shoes all over. And the reason it's called Dead Horse Bay is this area in Brooklyn at one point had been an animal rendering plant. Ooh. And there are lots, well, not so many as there used to be, but there are lots of animal bones and hooves scattered along the beach with the treasures. So I enjoy going there. It started out just with a sea glass hobby, but there's not enough wave action on that beach to really tumble the glass and make it frosty. But then you just start picking up, a bottle from the 20s or from the 1800s, and you find a marble, and then, oh my goodness, that's a spoon. I think it's a silver spoon. And before you know it, you have a bag full of junk that you bring home.
Well, we'll have that. We did have a question for you, Trace, from Robert Ridgway from Pinellas Park, Florida. He wants to know how long you have been detecting, and your best find and your most unusual find.
Okay, well, so I got my Equinox 600 for Christmas 2019. It was a combination Christmas and birthday present because I'm a December child. And so I haven't been detecting that long, but I do it often, or at least as often as I can. So a little more than 2 years, 2.5 years. My best find, that depends on the category, but the one I became a little known for was an engagement ring that had been lost on the beach in the Rockaways, which is part of Queens. A young woman lost her ring, reached out to a service called Ring Finders, which I don't know if you guys have heard of Ring Finders.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the New York person is Geronimo, who happened to be in Florida. So he reached out to Merrill, and Merrill reached out to his group of detectives friends. And at that point, I was still new, but I was in the crew, and I happened to be the one to find the ring. It became a big deal. We were on the news. I mean, it was something. So that was one of my best finds because I could return it. To me, that was the best part, was being able to give it back. And I'm just going to mention a second best find was I found a class ring from Brooklyn College from the class of 1955. And with some help from my wife, who's a little bit of a, Google sleuth, we managed.
Gotta have one of those. Gotta have
We
one of
managed.
those.
Yeah, yeah, we
That's
managed
why
to.
I
She
call
managed.
Liz.
Oh, you call Liz for that?
I call Liz. How do you do this? Well, I'll walk you through it.
But my wife found the name of the woman who wrote the yearbook for that class, and her email address was still active. And long story short, she was able to identify who the ring belonged to by the initials inside, and I got to return it to an 88-year-old man in the middle of COVID.
How cool is that?
That was cool. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, as much as the engagement ring was great, the class ring, because he didn't expect it to be found, he didn't even remember losing it, honestly. So most unusual find.
Is it something from Dead Horse Bay?
Lots of really unusual stuff from Dead Horse Bay. One of the things I found at Dead Horse Bay, which is pretty cool, is a printing plate from a candy maker. And I was able, I wasn't sure what it was at first because it's all in reverse, but I was able to make an impression. I just put some pencil on it, and I was able to find out what candy it was. So that was really neat. That was a Dead Horse Bay find, though, so it wasn't detecting. But treasure is treasure, in my opinion.
Right. Like Forrest Gump used to say, treasure is as treasure does.
That's right.
And, that's why we say, at Treasure Tales, also with the Blue Spade Society and Treasure Talk, that there's a lot of forms of treasure hunting. Liz and I have talked about this at length, along with a number of other people that are in the chat tonight. And, just because you're not a metal detector does not mean you're not a treasure hunter. You may be, hunting marbles, bottles, doing duck digging, magnet fishing, stone rock hounding. What's some of the other things, Liz? I mean, there's just tons of stuff out.
I mean, you could even go to like garage sales and in those kinds, which I think, Tracy, you do. Do you do bargain hunting? Do you not?
I did for a long time. I had a thing. It was called New to You NYC, and I did what you see 1,000 people doing on YouTube and Twitter and everything else. I would go to garage sales. I would go to thrift stores. I would go to auctions, and I would flip items. And I did pretty well. It took a lot more time than I thought it would. And I also ended up with a lot of stuff that never sold. And space is a premium in New York City, I can tell you that. So it's something I still do. If I see something that I know I could resell, I will buy it. But yes, to me, that's treasure hunting. Rock hounding, I've done it. Like I said, sea glass, that was like treasure hunting. So I love treasure. I love anything you can either sell or see value in. But that it all goes by your definition of treasure. But while I'm at it, if you don't mind me mentioning, I am actually going to do a treasure hunt this summer. A young friend of mine by the name of Joe is making me some. He's got a 3D printer. He's making me some little treasure boxes. So I am going to hide probably Morgan dollars, one in each of the parks of the 5 boroughs. So one in each borough. So there will be 5 in total. And over the next couple of weeks, once I bury them, I will give clues as to where they are on my. So I just thought that would be an interesting way, maybe to get people a little more engaged. I don't know. I just thought it would be fun to kind of track them and see if they're found, when they're found, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's a great idea.
It's kind of like geocaching with a metal detector, isn't
it? That's almost exactly what it's going to be, Jeff. So, keep an eye out for that on my YouTube. That'll be up in the next few weeks.
Well, why don't you tell everybody what your YouTube channel is?
So it's youtube.com/C/Tracies Treasures.
Very good. Very good. And I want you to, I know you're a member of Treasure Talk on Facebook, so please post it there if you would, please.
Absolutely.
And we'll get it around to everybody. So we want everybody to go and check out your YouTube channel and subscribe and like it, and above all else, share the videos.
Definitely.
Everybody.
Definitely. And Tracy, you've got, I think, 981. You're closing in on 1,000.
Closing in on 1,000. So.
Any plans for 1,000?
Yes, I'll do some kind of a giveaway. I have a bunch of stuff. I made this little kit that I call the Tracy's Treasure Survival Kit. So I'm going to put together a bunch of those. It has, a little finds keeper in it. It's got, some zip ties, some Band-Aids, all the things you need when you're out in the field, little spray bottle, that type of stuff. It's something you can throw in your backpack. So I'll probably put together a whole bunch of those and do a giveaway at 1,000.
Yeah.
Hope that happens soon.
Spray.
Thanks.
Oh, it'll happen this week, probably.
I hope so.
Might happen tonight.
Well, it might. You never know. Everybody out there, if you're not subscribed to Tracy's Treasure, she only needs 25 people?
19.
19? All right, let's see if we can't get her, boom, to 1,000 before the end of the show. Everybody out there, go to YouTube, look up Tracy's Treasures, subscribe.
Right on. Right on. Yeah. Are you on social media at all other than YouTube?
I am on Facebook, but as myself, not as Tracy's Treasures. I find it too hard to navigate more than one account. And I actually do have a TikTok for Tracy's Treasures, but content is not so easy. I mean, it's time consuming.
Yes.
Right now, I have a little stuff going on that I'm not able to detect as often, so the content is just, I haven't been able to upload. But people think it's really, all of detecting is a lot harder than people that don't detect would ever imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it really is not an easy hobby. It's easy to fall in love with, but it's not so easy to do.
I understand that. That is true. That is true. Yes. But once they get hooked, boy, I tell you what, you get hooked.
Yep.
So, Tracy, I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. It's just been so much fun for me, and I know I speak for Liz as well and everybody out there. So we hope that by the end of the show, you get to 1,000. That would be awesome.
Let us know if you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. And I look forward to 1,000 as well. So
it'll be there real quick.
Right on.
So everybody out there, go subscribe to Tracy's Treasures, if you would, please.
Thank you.
Trace, nice to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Absolute pleasure.
Bye.
Take care. Wow. Great guest. Great guest.
Dynamite, isn't she?
Yes.
And I tell you what, it takes a lot of intestinal fortitude, I think, living where she lives with just the sheer amount of people.
Yeah.
To find places to detect.
Yeah.
I mean, when you live in a city like that, when I lived in Chicago, it was the same thing. You can live in one place and be going to another place that's 5 miles away. But people say, well, when it'll take me 40 minutes. I'll be there in 40 minutes. You don't go by miles, you go by minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's the way it is um, in the New York.
Oh, absolutely. I would think so. I would think so.
So we got another guest, and I'm going to let you do the honors.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you do it better than me anyway.
Oh, gee, thank you. Storytelling, I think, is an absolute art form, and our next guest not only does it in an incredible way, but he has managed to bring a story into every video of his metal detecting or treasure hunting. And let's welcome Patrick from Stories from the Signal. Great channel, and I'd like to get to know him a little better. So Patrick from Stories from the Signal.
There you are. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Patrick.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, it's nice to finally meet you formally, Jeff. And Liz, you and I have had the pleasure. So it's good to be talking with you again.
Right on. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
So can I just start it out by just reading a little bit of your YouTube bio, because I think this totally sums you up. You said, you're telling us that I will take you through stories from many years of metal detecting. You're going to see how I found it, what I find, and what I learned afterwards. I mean, to me, that's quintessential metal detecting. Tell us all a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, certainly. So I've been detecting for 16 years. I started, my wife bought me a metal detector as a gift. So she started me on a white Prism 2. That was my first one. A great coin shooter. At the time, it was mostly park hunting and, finding coins and stuff. And I had little kids at the time, so it was tough to get out. But I think what changed it for me was about 7 years ago, I ended up with a Garrett AT Gold and started getting into the streams. So I live in central Pennsylvania, so I'm never on beaches, but the streams around here are so much fun. And I think I got to them just before other people were catching on to the idea that you can get into streams. So, I mean, Aqua Chigger was like a huge influence at the time, watching him go in and out of streams. So that's my love. I still hit parks. I still hit, I'm surrounded by farmland. So you got to hit those at just the right time of the fall or the spring. But other than that, I'm in and out of the streams like all summer long. Absolutely love doing that. And I think the idea of the channel really came off of like I wanted to get some of my stories out there and just talk about some of the finds, but I had like no footage. Like I wasn't taking anything while I was detecting for the past 16 years, and just wanted to start going through all these finds I had and started, relaying the story about like I said, like you mentioned, how I found it. And for me, like I'll invest hours and hours after I found something to try to figure out what it is, or ideally, if I can figure out who lost it or why they lost it or why it was lost, where it was lost. Like to me, I'm just constantly making up those stories. And then I try to fill in the gaps when I don't have the facts. So that's where the story part of it comes from.
Wow. Really, really nice. Now, what you said, do you still have that AT Gold?
I do. But it the stock coil went on me about last summer, at the end of last summer. So I ended up buying just before Christmas the XP Deus, the Minelab 800. So it was just before the Deus came out. I was torn as to whether to get it or not, but I wanted to get a new machine. So and I'm actually not dissatisfied at all with the 800. It is a great machine. The Garrett Gold is a super rugged machine, and I found so much with that, and that I can take in and out of the streams all day. The Minelab is nice because it's a little bit lighter, but I'm hearing things in a different way, And I think because the scale is vastly different, I'm inclined to go after things that I maybe didn't go after with the gold because, the numbers I'm just not quite as used to them. So like I'll go after it thinking, all right, let's see what this is. And so it's opened up some new finds for me. So it's been good working with a new machine.
It's completely different in tone, and everything is completely different from the Garrett. Garrett makes a fantastic machine. They make some of the most rugged machines
Yeah.
out there. And I think a lot of people started with an AT Pro, or, you happen to have the AT Gold. And a lot of it, was when the TV show Diggers was on. KG and Ringy. Now, they both used, they didn't use the AT Pro, they used the AT Gold.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't realize that, but the AT Pro, great machine, except on salt water. When freshwater, it kicks, and up there with the streams that you're hunting are all fresh water, plus all the history that, in those streams from the Civil War, colonial times, all that, you're right in the midst of all that. And, the streams, if there was let's say a settlement, it was near the stream because that's where they got all their water and stuff. So streams are an integral part, I think, of, being alive back in those times. So there's a lot of history out there.
Yeah. And a lot of people have gone, and to this day, like, so I'll be in the streams in the summer on like a good hot day, and I would guess somewhere between like 150, 200 people will come past me on kayaks and inner tubes, and these, they're all like lashed together with their coolers and music. They almost knock me out of the stream with their flotation. But there's so many people in the stream. So, if you can get on old swimming holes, which I have, you can pull out lots of good old coins and jewelry. And then you can also find a lot of like modern jewelry that people lose. And I do everything I can to get it back to them, but it's pretty difficult to find, if there's no markings on them. But
oh yeah, well, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. If you're at an old swimming hole that, let's say, is 150 years old, who are you going to get it to?
Yeah, exactly.
So, there is that. Something that you might look into getting, because some of the areas where the swimming holes are might be a little deep. You have to look at getting a Blue Nemo.
Yeah. There's a swimming hole I've been working that I get into regularly around waist deep. So, it undulates. So it'll go from, could be walking in chin or knee deep all the way up to my waist. I've gotten pretty good at, you were just talking with Tracy about like techniques more on the beach maybe, but I've gotten pretty good. There's a pickaxe that Aqua Chigga recommended years ago that I can actually use that to, the streams that I'm mostly in are almost down to bedrock. So if you give one swipe with your hand, like the debris goes, and it's not going to be deep, but you can almost use that pickaxe to like get under the item and just gently pick it up and slowly drag it out. I've gotten pretty good at doing that over the years.
Yeah. We've got somebody here. Gene P wants to know, where in central PA are you from?
From the great town of Boiling Springs. So about 35, 40 minutes north of Gettysburg. Closest big town is Carlisle. So
Wow.
A lot of history around there.
Yeah, there's some history. Yep.
Yeah. So what's the I guess most historic thing you have found?
Most historic
To you. Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing that I found recently down, like from a historic perspective, I was down at Digstock and in North Carolina, and that was the first time I've ever detected on plantations. So much resonated with me there. Like I had the pleasure of finding some Native American artifacts. I got 2 flakes and a rolled piece of copper that would have been, like a bead. So that's probably the oldest most historic piece that I found. But just being in plantations was a strange, completely different experience. We don't have cotton fields in Pennsylvania. So finding buttons and things in those fields just felt completely different than what I'm used to.
Yeah. Now, one of your I went through some of your videos, and your most popular video was when you found a World War II military bracelet and you ended up returning it to the family. Can you just
Yeah,
briefly tell us about that? That must have been
that's
crazy.
that's my favorite find by and far, and one of my favorite stories. So that one I found in my hotspot. There's a swimming hole that I narrowed down in a local stream, and I've just worked it out. I think you know Mike from Great Finds, Liz,
Mm-hmm.
right? I just took
Yes.
him there this past weekend. We had a great time. So in that stream, I've pulled out. Now I'm up to 72 silver coins.
Wow.
I've just hit my 5th gold ring in there. I don't know how many silver rings and other pieces of silver jewelry, but the best find was that bracelet. It was a sterling silver bracelet, pretty hefty. It was probably a man's bracelet, and it had first initial, last name, and then a number on it. And it turns out the number was the guy's military ID.
Mm.
So through the ID, I was able to track down and match to an exact name. But unfortunately, that guy had passed away a couple years prior to me finding it, and I had to jump through a couple of hoops, but I ultimately got it back to the family. So it's with his daughter. And
Oh.
the last I spoke to her, when I was making that video, she had it framed, and she put it on her grandson's bedroom wall, which would be his
Oh my
great
goodness.
grandson's bedroom wall.
Wow.
That thing was lost for 70 years. I talked to the guy's brother who lost it, and he was saying he and his brother would swim in that stream routinely after he got out of the war. He served in the Pacific,
Oh,
so that was pretty cool.
wow.
That is
That is a cool story. Holy
That
smokes.
same stream I found was where I found, like I was saying, the 5 gold rings. 2 of them, actually 3 of them, were class rings. One was pretty worn down, so I couldn't tell what school it was from. And then 2 of the class rings, one was from the 20s, and I just had no luck finding a yearbook. The other one was from the 50s, and I was actually able to track down a yearbook, and the initials in the ring matched one person who went to the school that year. And you see his photo, and you're just like, kind of gives you the chills when you
Wow.
find something
Yeah,
and you
it
can
would.
tie it to somebody. That's
Yeah.
happened to me a couple times. And then going
Wow.
through the yearbook, I found another picture of him where he's actually wearing the very ring that I found that he lost. But unfortunately, he passed away, and I tried to find
Wow.
descendants, and the obituary mentioned no surviving children. But
Wow.
yeah.
Well, you gave it the best try.
Mhm.
You
We got
did.
a question from P&W Dirt Fishing. Wants to know if you do the streams with any large rocks. If so, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So the 2 most common streams that I hit, and they're not far apart, but they're like so vastly different. The one, like I said, is down to bedrock, and when you walk in it, you're up and down over rocks, but it's bedrock. Now there's some rocks that will move with you. And so I use that. I'd recommend. I honestly, it was so long ago I bought this thing. I'm not sure where I got it, but like I said, Aqua Chigger recommended on a video from years ago. It's a pickaxe looking thing. So on one side it comes to a point, and then on the back side of it, it's like a flat scoop. So
Mhm.
when I get a hit, the first thing I do, regardless of what stream I'm in, I'll go down and swish with my hands, and that clears up the loose debris, clears up small stones, and sometimes you're lucky and it's just right there. If you get that classic the pull tab signal, and you do that swish and you swipe your coil over it and you don't hear anything, and you move back a couple feet, you don't hear anything, that pull tab's gone long downstream. You'll probably never find it.
Mhm.
But if it's a coin, a ring, or whatever, they may settle, but they won't go far. They'll settle right behind you. So I'll use that swish technique. If I'm in waist deep water, I actually use the axe. It has like, maybe like a 3-foot handle on it. I'll use the axe, and the face of it is kind of flat, and I'll actually push down as if I'm swiping, and I can kind of push the debris away there. So if I'm, a little bit deeper, I can use that to move things away. As far as like where there's large rocks, then that's where I'm using that that scooping action with that axe to pull stuff away. So if they can move, they will. I have at times spent, like, no exaggeration, 20 minutes, a half hour trying to get like a mercury dime out of the crack of, or the crevice of a rock, you know, and you just have to keep picking at it and swishing at it, and hopefully it pops out. We do have a lot of crayfish around here, as I'm sure in other parts. I always hate when I pull the rocks away and they come flying at you. So I usually use that axe to pull them away, or to pull the rocks away so the crayfish go in the other direction. But yeah, it's a lot of trial and error too, you know, figuring out the best techniques to pulling things out of the streams. Not sure if that fully answered the question.
Take a net with you, and when them crawfish come out, just put them in a bag and have a meal when you get home.
I'd rather just leave them where they are. I don't want anything to do with them. They do taste good, though. I'll give you that.
Especially with a couple of cold ones.
I didn't catch that last thing you said.
Crawfish and Modelo's go really well together.
Modelo. Ah.
I'm with you there. That's good.
Yes, indeed. We had a comment from Andrew T. that that pickaxe that you have, Aquachigger got that on his Australian adventure. They got a lot of different things down there to use.
Here comes my wife. My wife brought my pickaxe up for me. She's listening downstairs.
She's a good wife.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah.
Say hello. Get her on here.
Oh, she's long gone. She's long gone. But it has a magnet on the bottom. Now, I know Aquachigger replaced his with a stronger magnet. I never really did that, and I think he also replaced the wood shaft. But I've had this thing for like 7 years, and it's a solid, awesome device. Yeah, this works super well, at least in the streams that I'm in and out of.
Oh yeah, if you do any prospecting, you're already fixed up already.
There you go. He doesn't have to buy another one.
Yeah.
So what would be your oddest, most unusual find? That's always a good one.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple ones there. I knew that question would pop up. I did pull a 1-year sobriety token out of a stream. No idea why that was lost. Recently got a pipe. Recently got a pipe.
He was catching those crawfish
with the Modelos.
And then he said, "Oh, I have Modelo. I'm off the wagon now." Boom! There goes the token.
Skip the coin across. Yeah.
Hey, you gotta have something with the crawfish.
I recently got a pipe in a park, and let's just say there's no tobacco going through that pipe. So it's kind of a strange one.
A pipe.
I had a real fun experience last summer. Was in a stream, and I had found a like one of those can holders, like a Yeti can holder. I guess Yeti's the brand. You know, it insulates the beer or whatever you throw in there. And I found this thing and was detecting a little further. Maybe a half hour later, these people come by in rafts and they started talking to me. And I love when I'm in the stream, you know, I got my headphones on and I can barely hear what's going on. People talk to me. I'm like, what's going on? So I pulled my headphone off. I'm like, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, people joke with me like, hey, did you find anything good or whatever? And I was like, not too much good today, whatever. And they said, you didn't find a Yeti can holder, did you? And I was like, and I just pulled it. I walked over them. I just pulled that out of my case and handed it to them. They lost it a year prior. And they just so happened to be going by and asked me if I had found it. And I just found it. So I gave that to them. But probably the absolute weirdest one that I found, and I did a story on this on my channel, was an Italian medal. So in World War I, Italian soldiers, if they spent a year of active duty on the front, they got a medal. And there's some inscription, it's of course all in Italian. There's some inscription on about it, made from enemy bronze, I believe it says, like on the back. And what was so odd about it was I found it in a friend's yard here in Pennsylvania. And in the same yard, I found a World War II compass. So now I can only, so my story that I put together is trying to figure out, well, how do you get these? How do these two things end up in a yard together? and you can go to some dark places with it. And
What was your conclusion?
well, I came up with 2 stories for it. The first was, that it was a souvenir from war, right? And we can put that kind of dark spin on it, but then I changed the story and I said, I there's another possibility here, and maybe this like American soldier. And by the way, when I found that, I did research on this. This will let you know where my mind goes with this stuff. Like I ended up going to the online for the county records and looked up prior owners of the house. I had to pay to get, back to the 40s, 50s, and went through to find if any of the prior owners of the house actually served in World War II.
Wow.
That would have been tied to the compass that was lost. So the first one, I found a couple that actually served in World War II, but only one actually served in foreign soil. So I attribute it to him. Won't ever know for sure, but I attribute the compass to him at least. And then the Italian medal. The other story I came up with was that this American soldier encountered an Italian soldier, and in my head at least, like Italian soldiers were that would have fought in World War I. There was some likelihood that they again fought in World War II, but were much older at that point. So I know the U.S. soldier that I believe would have had these items would have been younger, and I just pictured the two of them meeting up, somewhere in Europe, and rather than having a conflict, they exchange items or whatever, and the Italian soldier gives him his medal. I'll never know. I was really hoping to find some ties, but I got as far as finding like who it possibly could have belonged to, but nothing more than that. But
Well, that's pretty good. We do
Yeah.
have a question off YouTube from Jersey Ray. She wants to know, what essentials do you bring with on a adventure digging up the past?
what essentials I bring?
Yeah.
If we're talking about in the stream, I've got my detector, of course. I go with sneakers and 2 pairs of socks, as odd as that sounds. I've tried a couple pairs of like water shoes. My wife bought me these like aqua socks and different things. None of them seem to work. There's so much small debris and sand and stone that for some reason I'll bring an old pair of sneakers with 2 pair of socks, and I can go all day. When I get out of the stream, I'll pull my shoes off, and sure, there's like a ton of stuff that spills out of it, but I don't feel it, I think, because of the 2 pairs of socks. I do have a carrot. That's super essential. And then if I'm in streams, I found backpacks are horrible. They're really tough. Like when I first started going in streams, I thought, oh, let's get a backpack on so it's out of the water. And it got just as wet, but worse was like when you find something or you need something, if you're in the middle of the stream waist deep, you can't get the backpack off easily without things falling out. And so I've gone with a fanny pack, which my wife thinks is amazing that I'm wearing a fanny pack. And I found I know there's different bags. I know, Garrett has ones but I found I think it's primarily used for ammo casings. So like military or whatever would use it. So it's a pouch that you can clip onto like a belt or whatever.
An ammo dump pouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. And that's great. It has the little holes in the bottom so the water spills out. So what I'm doing is I'm throwing lead, I'm throwing, clad, trash, all that goes right in that pouch. I don't have to do anything other than just drop it in. I do end up on a good day with a couple pounds of lead by the time I leave the stream. So I sometimes that weighs on you, but, and then when I find something good, I'll swivel the fanny pack around, and in there I have a little case where I throw coins, jewelry, stuff that, I want to make sure stays safe for the way home and don't want to get like mixed in with all the trash. So that's a day, if I'm in the streams. Yeah. Oh, and if I'm in fields, another aqua chigger tip that I use a long-handled shovel. Just one that you can get at Lowe's. It has like a thin, a real thin blade to it.
Oh, is that the one that he showed modifying? Or he has a video,
maybe,
I think,
yeah.
modifying a trenching shovel or something like that?
It's exactly what it is, a trenching
Yeah.
shovel, yeah.
Can
I
you tell
love
that
it.
I've watched all of Aqua Jigger's videos?
Yeah, I've watched him for so many years,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean that tip is great. I've detected dig stock for an entire week. I've detected up at Bones in New Hampshire for an entire week, and I've seen other people with the smaller shovels, and they are great. But I'm able to just drag mine, and it takes some of the weight off because you're dragging it. But the best part is I never have to bend down. There's finds that I get where I can just pop a plug out. Like if I'm in farm, you know, you don't care about the neatness when you're done. I fill the hole, but you can pop a huge plug out, and if you get it right in the plug, you can just slightly bend over and pick it out. So I mean, that's just my tech. I know people have their preferences for shovels, but
What about your camera? What camera do you use?
I have I don't even know what version it is. My son has a GoPro that we bought him, I don't know, like 5 years ago. I'll use that if I'm in the streams or whatever. Otherwise, I'm largely just using my iPhone. And that was another reason why my video formats are the way they are, because not only did I not have footage of me ever digging up anything, I'm slowly doing that more and more. But the equipment I have isn't great for on the spot. So I've tried once or twice to, take footage of myself, and like the sound is horrible. And so I still keep doing what I'm doing, which is I gather the footage that I have and I narrate over top of it, and then I'll play music over top. And yeah.
When you make great videos, that's tell you.
Absolutely. Yeah. The narration and the music is like, I don't think there's anything that compares out there right now.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's, I remember watching a lot when I first got started, and, some of the tips out there was just do it. And I think I've heard this a number of times. I think, Liz, maybe you even talked about this once or twice, was that, like, when you go back and look at your first couple of videos, you're like, oh my gosh,
please don't.
So you just do, if you want to do it, you just have to take the plunge, and you evolve and get better and figure out better techniques and better ways to do it. So, yeah.
It's all trial and error.
It's a lot of trial and error.
You can tell the people that, are really new at it, because they're kneeling down and they're getting in the plug and they've got the camera set, but they're filming their belly button, and they go, oh, look at this. And it's not even in the frame, but, the thing of it is, you give them credit because they're out there trying to get it done. And they learn after they start to edit their videos. They go, oh boy, man, funny, and then you start thinking about that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it happens. It's all good.
It is. The main thing is getting out there and just doing it, like you said.
Yeah. And then one day you hope you figure out that whole YouTube algorithm, because I have yet to come close on that one. I just throw the videos out there and let the YouTube gods take care of it. Like,
that's pretty much it. Yeah. Pretty much it, and pray.
Because once you think you got it figured out, they're going to change it.
Yeah.
They're never going to let anybody get it figured out so they can beat them at their own game. It's just not going to happen. So, you just do the best you can to make interesting videos, which you do.
Yes.
And that's all that anybody can hope for, So it's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
So what's next for Stories in the Signal, Patrick?
I got a couple things in the works. I put out a video a couple months back of a train relic that I found. It was a coupling loop that they would have used to connect trains together from the mid 1800s to the late 1800s, and they stopped using them. It's a big, probably 13, 14 inches, huge oval iron. I found that and pulled that out of the stream last summer. Went back. It was my first stream hunt this year, and found one of the pins to go with it. So I've been talking to some folks at the Historical Society. I'm going to donate both of those items to them, and we're piecing together some foundry that was there that no longer exists. I didn't even know about. So we're tying that together to the history of what was there, and some train trestles that ran across the stream that I didn't know existed. So hopefully putting some stories together around the train relics there. And that same person I talked to showed me a map, like a hand-drawn map of an old ford that I didn't know existed in a stream that I go up and down all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go find that ford, hopefully find some relics there. So yeah, a couple fun things on the horizon. I've been trying to get out with Mike, getting him to the one hotspot that I have, and a couple other local friends. Yeah,
sounds great.
stories keep coming. That's what it's all about.
They
Just
do.
finding more stories.
Excellent.
You keep bringing them to us. That's what makes a difference.
Yep.
So, anything to wrap it up, Liz?
No, are you on social media?
On Facebook, I do have a Stories from the Signal page, but just under Patrick Herman on Facebook, and then just my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Wonderful. I hope everybody watching this now or on the replay checks out Stories from the Signal. Absolutely incredible. Incredible channel.
What's your subscriber count now, Patrick?
145 maybe.
Oh, what? 145?
Yeah.
Oh, well, everybody, go subscribe. Let's get him to 500 by the end of the week.
Oh, 5 would be awesome. I'd appreciate
We
that.
can do that. Don't you agree, Liz?
Absolutely.
I think you're missing out.
That's part of that. That's part of that YouTube algorithm. I have no idea. Like, I watch my count go up and then all of a sudden drop, and then go up, and like, what just happened? I had these subscribers here.
That's YouTube for you. There ain't much you can do about it. Just keep putting out good content. People will go and subscribe and watch the videos if you like them.
Yes.
That you've got to like these videos, which has something to do with the algorithm. And then if you share it, that's even better. So, let other people get in on the goodies.
Yes.
And if everybody does that for everybody else, everybody's going to be a winner.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, it was great. Just great fun having you with us tonight. We certainly appreciated it.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you so much.
And we'd like to get you back sometime in the fall, possibly after you've had a summertime of adventures, to tell us a little bit more about what's going on, and to announce your 1,000 subscriber giveaway.
Yeah, I would love that. Yes,
it'll happen. It'll happen.
Right.
So, thanks for joining us tonight, Patrick. Right. We certainly enjoyed it. Take care and keep on doing the good work.
All right. Thank you so much.
See you, Patrick.
All right. Bye, Liz.
All right. Bye.
Very interesting.
Heck of a channel. Yes.
Yes. I mean, I watch his videos, and I thought that he had more subscribers than that. I tell you what, I don't understand why people aren't just eating that channel up.
It's I don't know. I don't know. There's channels out there that people should be watching, need to watch, and there's other channels that people shouldn't be watching.
And we know what they are.
So there you go. I don't know.
I know some of them, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. I spend most of my life in trouble. So there is that.
Best not to go there. Best not to go there.
It's better not to go there. That's for sure. So, we had a lot of good news to announce tonight, and I think, and had a couple of really great guests. So let me see what I've got on tap here for next week. Oh, let me find my calendar. Everybody knows I've got calendar. July, of course, we're not going to be here the whole month of July. We're going to be on hiatus.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to be in Canada. Oh, I got too many things going on here, Liz. Too many. Let's see. That's not even the right one. Oh, well.
Is there a show next week? Do we have a show next week?
Yeah.
All right. We'll let everybody know on through social media and through YouTube.
Yeah, I just can't find it right at the moment.
Okay.
I got too much stuff piled up here. So we'll let everybody know. I don't remember who it is, but it's something good. I promise you. It's something
right
good.
On. Good stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have shows the rest of June. And then the whole month of July, I'm taking that month off. I'm going to be traveling in Canada, and generally having a good time.
Yes,
And
yes.
Liz is going to be getting in her swimming pool. And all
Hopefully.
y'all better take some vacations and have some fun and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So, for me and for our new permanent co-host, the Diggin' Canuck, we would like to thank you for joining us tonight. And we want to say good night, happy hunting, and dig deeper. And also, what we always say, treasure stories, there's a million of them out there. Every one of them is important, every one of them is different, and every one of them has meaning. So we want you to get up with us. You can get up with Liz, you can get up with me, and let's get you on to Treasure Tales so you can tell the world about your treasure story. Because trust me, they want to hear it, as do we. So with that being said, good night, Miss Liz. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me. Everyone have a great rest of your day.
That is it for sure. Good night, everybody.